Hey everybody, welcome to episode 34 of Powerbombshells. We're two broads talking about the wrestling we watch, and we got quite a bit of wrestling in this week. And it seems like we watched actually some different we watch different things from each other, which is nice. So then we have lots of things to talk about.
Well, Sam, I have a confession. In the immortal words of the Foo Fighters, I have a confession to make.
And what is that confession that you need to make?
I watched 2 out of 3 WWE shows this week. Not all of Raw, I did watch all of SmackDown.
I had Raw on in the background mostly because obviously they knew what they were doing. They were getting people in because of Bray. But they did at least show the entire reveal of Bray that happened on Extreme Rules. So they did. So if people missed that, they got the full thing, which was really cool. But yeah, it was just kind of background stuff for me. And then Friday Friday was kind of background stuff for me too. I was doing some other thing. I mean, I was in the room, but I was just doing some other stuff, and I had heard beforehand that Bray was closing the show, so I knew I was like, oh, I don't necessarily need to pay attention. And so I was expecting him, but yeah, I enjoyed it. What did you think about the Bray stuff?
I like the Bray stuff a lot. I think they're doing exactly what they should be doing with it and running with it. I was surprised. That was a great promo, and I was surprised that it was allowed. It seemed very not out of place, but it was like, whoa, hang on.
Right.
He's cutting almost no, he cut a real promo, and it had authenticity in it, and people were calling out and cheering, and there was a minute where it was real kind of quiet in the hall, and someone yelled out that they loved him, and he said, I love you too. And it was
that was really cool.
Almost because of that indie with a budget super feel that AEW has.
Right.
It had a minute where it was wow. Yeah. And it's this guy's really great at this. And but there was even some good wrestling on the show.
There was.
Some of the women's match was pretty good.
I watched that too. Yeah, I did pay attention to a bit more to the women.
Were really good.
So they've got some good stuff going there. But yeah, going back to the Bray promo, I didn't expect the vulnerability.
Yeah.
Which was really nice to see, especially from a character like Bray, to see that. And I told Nikki, it reminded me of Hangman promos, where and even John Moxley, just where I think the reason their promos work so well is because they are authentic. So I think that, and so it reminded me, seeing Bray do that kind of reminded me of Hangman Page, even on, last week's Dynamite. I thought it was an incredible promo from Hangman, and I thought it was really passionate. And I think, and so that reminded me Bray, and it was nice to see Bray have that freedom. And I don't know how, I've heard that he has full control of this character. I'm not sure how accurate that is. It seems like maybe he does. And so I liked, so I did I was really surprised that he got emotional and was crying a little bit. I was really surprised by that. But then I wasn't necessarily surprised by how they cut to the person in the mask, which I think is cool, because it seems like Firefly Funhouse kind of came alive in the reveal. They became real. I guess they're real portions of Bray, and they were all representing different eras of Bray. And so now we have this new one in a mask, and they think maybe the person in the mask is going to be Bo Dallas, because Bo is on the way back, which I could kind of see. I still think it's Bray. I think it's Bray, kind of somebody trying to protect Bray because he got vulnerable, and that person in the mask was we don't do that.
Don't you ever do that again.
Yeah, exactly. And so my sister kind of was wondering if maybe Bray's going to go kind of on a losing streak, and this person in the mask is going to be well, they don't love you. They don't want you to kind of reinforce that. And it's because some people made the point that maybe Bray was talking to himself when he was I was sad, and I lost 2 people who were close to me, and I thought nobody cared about me, and all this stuff. And obviously we did get the thank you Bray chants a little bit, and so it'll be interesting to see what this entity does. Like, it seems like it's a part of the Wyatt six that's like a current character. So we've got like Bray, the individual and the real person, and then we have this character who's maybe going to protect him or keep him. Like, maybe it's his, not, I don't want to say an alter ego, but maybe it's like his not even a subconscious, I'm trying to think of, but it's like it just feels like it's going to be kind of like a duality between the two, which I think will be really interesting. I just hope they do it right, like we talked about last week. I think the part now is the execution and making sure that they don't drop the ball with him, which it was interesting because I was watching Matt Hardy last week was celebrating 30 years in wrestling on his podcast, but he opened the show talking about Bray, and because they're really good, they became good friends, and he was talking about the stuff that they did together, and he mentioned the same thing. He was like, the thing now is like the execution, like, and the follow-up and how they handle it, and he was like, I have faith that they'll do it. But he mentioned before, they've dropped the ball with him many times, and he was part of the reason when Bray left. Obviously they let him go, but he was talking about how Bray was really just kind of burnt out, and he was having a hard time because of all the decisions, and just frustrated from all the decisions that Vince was making. And so I'm sure, having that hesitancy there in this new stuff and wanting to believe that Triple H will let him have these things and will let him do right by him, but probably in the back of his mind wondering, like, are they going to do this to me again?
Yeah, this has been my hesitation the entire time, because I can't get over the stock part. I can't get over the real ownership part, because that's something that's stuck in me, and because of my nerdery. And because of that, it's always nagging at me, and that's why I've been very hesitant. But I'm like, but this is like a historic moment going on in wrestling that people are super interested in, and it is gaining steam. And I do want to see. I don't want WWE to suck.
No, of course. No, there's only awesome. Yeah, exactly. And there's only so many places that people can be on television in the United States. I mean, of course, there's streaming and things like that. So there is that, but there's to be on network television is really, really hard. And so, of course, and competition breeds success and creativity, and it makes people work harder. And so, I don't want WWE to suck. I want them to be good, but I also don't want Triple H to do, because he can do the bare minimum, and people will be like, this is great, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but he's got it. Like, I've seen some people, they're like, of course things are okay now, and then where are we going to be in 2 or 3 years? Like, he's going to have to do a little bit more than giving people their names back and bringing Bray Wyatt back and things like that. But wow, in the moment that we're in now, like, I think the stuff with Bray has been really good, and I hope I'm interested to see.
And I enjoyed watching it live. Was my favorite. I was like, all right, I'm cool. I can be a part of this, and I can instead of watching people watch it, I can really, in fairness, like I'm not going to sit here and be like, I turned it. Bob turned it on both times. It was not me. So
I did, because I wanted to see what happened with Bray. And then, like, when I found out he was going to be at the end, I was like, well, I can kind of do some other stuff and just sort of listen. And I sort of did. And I would look up every time. And I did watch some of the women's match, but I saw I saw a tweet on Saturday that said between like all the social media where Bray's promo was posted, it had reached 5 million views in 12 hours. And so, and when and also this was the same thing, that reaction that Bray got when he came out, I said out loud, I was like, Vince is so stupid. Like, those people love him. Like, that reaction for Bray was like a superstar. Like, I knew people like obviously you liked him, and I obviously have been I've said last week how much of a fan I was of Bray, but like, to hear that crowd reaction was huge for him, and I was like, God, Vince is so dumb. I was like, I was like, those people love him.
No, it made the show really entertaining. It was actually really fun. I enjoyed like, I watched SmackDown and then watched Rampage. I watched it like right in a row.
Yeah, so did I.
Nice. It made for a good night of wrestling.
I didn't have Rampage. The only thing I didn't like is I didn't have time to like fully process the Bray stuff. Like I was tweeting about Bray and had to like flip the channel. And so I missed some of the beginning of the first match because I was reading reactions about Bray and what people thought of like the secondary, not the secondary character, but how the person in the mask popped up. Like I was reading reactions to that because some people were like, "Oh, what are we do?" Like there's hesitancy there, like because we know how they've done with the Fiend, and so there was some people they're like they're cool, but they were like it was cool, but I'm kind of worried, and so I was reading that, and it took away. So that was the only thing, which I guess is not necessarily a bad thing. I was like, I wish I had a couple minutes. I mean, WWE knew what they were doing by having him cut that right and having it cut off. Like you hear the message and then it just fades to black and we get the Wyatt, the new Wyatt symbol, and then it cuts. And so you don't have time to gather your thoughts. And then they flipped a Rampage and they didn't even do their entrances. They went straight into Butcher and Blade and Cesaro and Moxley, and I was like, hold on a second.
Like, what's happening?
I need to focus. But so it was really good though.
Although it was a good the thing about it that felt really good, it was a good transition.
Yeah, it was.
It was like to go from one to the other and not feel like, because you get that thing where you're like, oh, I just watched the G1 and then I watched a WWE episode and you're just like, what the hell am I doing? How can you call yourself pro wrestler? I mean, you do that. Like, I try not to, as a rule, I try not to do that to myself too much, but sometimes it all intersects. I mean, the G1 takes place for such a long time. It's going to intersect with other things.
Exactly.
But it was kind of interesting to go, oh, this is so cool, and then to flip over a Rampage and almost, even though it was right in the middle of all of it, because I kind of did similarly where, I mean, he even had to Bob had to be like, hey, you can flip over a Rampage. I'm like, oh yeah, and then I put it, and then of course I put it on the Dynamite channel accidentally, and then I was okay, oops, it's not the right channel. So I kind of probably got in right about the same time as you, and it kind of felt like a weird, easy, cool. Yeah. And I would love for it to be like that all the time, because
that would be nice.
That hour of Rampage staying up till 10 is tough.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sorry, kids. When you get to be this dated, you 10 o'clock can feel a little late for you. No, but it's, I don't know. And because it's been an up and down show, sometimes I've just been DVRing and doing Saturday watches of it. Which
I have a friend who typically will record now and then we'll watch it like on Saturdays. But I still watch it live just because I have to. I think probably even if I wasn't writing about it, I would probably still watch it live just because it's habit, and I do, and like I get like not wanting, because there's certain. They weren't putting stars on there, but I enjoy being able to see other wrestlers, but it did get to a part where it was just kind of there, and there would be like one. Then there are times I'm like, how am I supposed to get 300 words out of, because I have to pick, like, it's not, I don't do a whole recap anymore. We pick like the best thing that stands out, and kind of, well, like whatever stands out, like and then like the big moment of the show and like why it matters or whatever. And sometimes
the significant stuff, the stuff you need to know.
And then sometimes I would watch it and I'm like, and I would tell my editors, I'm like, I don't know how I'm supposed to get 300 words out of this. Like it's so sometimes I would just be like, I mean, it was a decent show, but like nothing of substance really happened. Or if it did, it could be, you could say it in a tweet, not in 300 words. And so I would have to stretch a little bit, but like luckily the last few weeks have been a bit better, so hopefully it keeps that way.
They're trying really hard.
They are.
Apparently I missed the match of the week, which was apparently the Serpentico match. So did you see that match?
Wait, which one was it?
Serpentico, it's the one from Elevation this week. Wait, is that last week? I think missed it.
I got behind on things, I think.
But and I need to go back. That's one I need to go back and catch, because I keep hearing everybody like really excited about that match.
I was behind a week on.
It was on one of the YouTube shows. I know.
I thought that I got caught up this week, but now I can't remember. I'm getting blurred. I thought I did watch it both this week, I think. And I do remember Serpentico. being on there,
God
but
dang
and I love Serpentico,
anyway.
so I should. But yeah.
Yes.
But, and one of the things I do enjoy, since we're talking about Dark, is the one of the good things that they're utilizing the Workhorsemen lately, and they've been doing a feud between. Well, they've been doing stuff with. They've been doing like solo stuff, like they did Anthony versus Dante, and then they did Drake versus Matt Sydal, and then last week they did a tag match between all four, and it was really solid stuff. So I was like, this kind of stuff, like I like when Dark does stuff like this. So I've got a storyline, like a little mini feud to follow. And so I'm hoping that will lead to stuff like I can see something like that being on ROH where they do Workhorsemen. Like I could see Matt Sydal going over to the ROH side of things, and maybe even Dante Martin. I mean, Dante should be on Dynamite, but then again, I think Workhorsemen should be on Dynamite too. But if they're going
better ROH than nothing, I guess.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, so I mean, I like that they're doing little things like that. And the one thing that I did watch, because the one thing that annoyed me was that they did Tony Storm versus Sheeta. I mean, not Sheeta, Tony Storm versus Emmy.
Cutler.
Emmy.
Brandon Cutler.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did see that match. That match was a lot of fun. I enjoyed that match. That one was that was good.
Apparently, Brandon Cutler is like the smartest person in the world right
He
now.
is. He's very smart.
Yes, like quietly building himself up to get over at some point.
Yeah,
he'll finally get that trio's. He'll finally get picked for somebody's trio.
Yeah, exactly. And so apparently, some people, when he came out to the show, people heard the Elite's music and thought that it was. Or they heard the BTE music and thought that that's what it was going to be. And I'm like, why would they come back on Dark though? And apparently they were like mad that it was Brandon Cutler. And like, I guess they booed him a little bit. And I'm like, that's on you.
Right.
The Elite's going to come back at Dark. Come on.
Come on now.
Come on.
Are you guys out of your mind? We have people throwing tantrums on Twitter over not knowing about this stuff. And you think they're going to come back on Dark.
Right.
Come on. Catch up, people.
But yeah, so I did see that match. So Cutler was on, but yeah, I was a little, again, because I know I've said like because I watched Dark and Elevation, like I want to get good matches, like I want to see things, I want to be rewarded for watching them. However, when you're barely booking your interim women's champion in title matches, you don't need to put her on Dark. And her and Emmy had a really good match. And that's another thing. Emmy is I'm glad that she's on, like she's definitely a staple on Dark and Elevation, and I enjoy watching. I really like Emmy and I just enjoy her a lot. And so I think she'd be fun on TV. I think people would dig her character, especially because of like she comes out and as a queen, like she has her hat and her robe, and then she will sit on people and drink her tea.
Oh, that's fantastic. Yeah, that's how very Jay White of her.
Yeah, exactly. So it's fun. And so
my kind of villain.
I hope that people who did watch the match that don't typically watch Dark, like I hope they enjoyed what Emmy does, because Emmy is very good. And obviously she's trained Sheeta. She's trained so many women. And so she is like, I think she is good on Dark and Elevation because they can utilize her to work with these women. And then she's been in 6-woman matches a lot with where she's paired with Nyla. And so Emmy and Nyla are a lot of fun together. And so I do enjoy that. But yeah, that match should have been on TV, and I was not thrilled about it. And it was a really good match, and they got like decent time. I think it was like an 8-minute match or something like that. So I was like, why didn't you put it on TV?
Well, maybe now that they have some of these new ladies that have shown up on.
Yeah, we had two big,
not one, but two.
Yeah,
badass chicks.
Yes, very exciting. So first on Wednesday, well, it was announced actually before the show even started. Tony tweeted that Renee Paquette is All Elite, which had been a rumor a few days ahead of time, because there were rumors that when WWE made their announce team changes that they had attempted to bring Renee back, and unsurprisingly that didn't work out for them. And so people assumed she was AEW. Like I wasn't sure. I was like, I mean, I could see her going to AEW, but I was like, she's got sessions. She just announced the show with the Cincinnati Bengals that she's going to be doing. It's coming soon. And obviously there might be obviously
she
we
has
know
a small child.
Yeah, that too. And Tony,
she has
and
family.
Tony,
she has
Tony Khan
cookbooks
is the
and
owner of
stuff
the
she
Jag.
does.
Yeah, and Tony Khan's the owner of the Jags. I didn't know if that would be a little bit of conflict of interest.
Yeah, right. I wonder.
so I was like, but she's busy
Probably
doing
not, because the franchise is overheld by the NFL proper.
Right,
So
right.
maybe.
Yeah, and I was like, and she's already got one cookbook. Maybe she's working on a second. I'm like, she's got a lot. She's a busy lady.
She is.
So I was like, I could see her coming to AEW if she wanted, but I could also see her just be like, no, I'm doing my own thing. Like, I don't need that. And so, so it was nice. It was still nice to see her there. I love Renee. She's phenomenal.
Pleasant surprise.
Yeah, it was. And so it was cool that she got to come. Her debut was in her hometown of Toronto. And so that was really cool. And they used her obviously in the interviews. Like, I don't know if she'll do more than the backstage stuff. Or how they'll do. And Nikki had asked, she was like, well, I wonder what that means for Lexi. And I was like, well, maybe Lexi will stay on Rampage. And they did use Lexi on Rampage, but then they also used Alex Marvez. So it looks like they've got a couple of things that they're doing backstage. I'm sure Renee's whatever she's doing will probably expand beyond that, and she would probably be really great for like interviews and stuff like that. They do sit down interview segments where they expand women character development.
What?
That would be the perfect spot for her.
Are you out of your mind? You don't think JR is appropriate to be doing the women's interviews, Sam? Come on.
Okay. No, I do not.
No. But I would like to go on the record as saying I do not either, and that was a joke for those of you with no sense of humor.
Yes.
So,
but yeah, so I'm excited to see what she does. I know there are some people that are like, why is she there? Why would you bring her in? Because she's Renee. Why wouldn't you bring her in?
Her name draws. Don't be silly.
Yeah, why would you not bring her in? She's like one of the people that's like universally loved.
Following. Are you kidding?
Yeah, and she's like one of those people.
Bring to the. They're gonna be like, ooh,
right.
I didn't know what that was.
Yeah, and she's like one of the few people that's like universally loved in wrestling. Mm-hmm. Like I think almost everybody loves her. I mean, I'm sure she's got some haters out there, but that's a whole different story. But for the most part, like Renee is one of those people that literally everybody loves. Like, why would you not bring her in? And she could, and then, I mean, who knows if she has any aspirations of doing commentary after what happened with Raw. I don't think she ever really got a fair shake there. And she was the first woman commentator in Raw history. Like, that's insane. Yeah. And so like, who knows if she even wants to do AEW stuff and do commentary, but I mean, now they have that option to put a woman on commentary.
I know. It's amazing.
Yeah, so then there's that, and then we had all the excitement of her, and then they did use her on Rampage as well. Yep. And so that was cool to see, and she changed her hair and she changed her top because it's a new show now. So I thought that was funny. I was like, oh look, and I was like, oh, and she changed her necklace too.
Nice, yeah.
So she was ready, but yeah, I thought she did great. And then on Rampage, if you have not seen it, I'm gonna spoil it.
Should I put Brad's picture up for him?
Actually, this got spoiled for a lot of people before they even watched Rampage.
Oh my God, they didn't get this.
They did
right
not.
Here.
Nobody.
Oh my gosh.
Nobody
did not
showed
get
up.
Their spoiler alert.
Nobody showed up in real life to put that in front of their faces.
Jeez
for them.
Louise. People, they need to hire me
right
to go around and make sure that they don't mess this up.
Yeah, they already did it with their Great Muta, and now
I could have saved a few weeks ago. I could have saved the main event from Chris Jericho blowing it. So,
yeah, that's what Jericho needed when he spoiled the tournament match.
It's just
oh, Jericho!
I love that guy. Yeah, he's awesome. Let's put more of him on TV. Right. Anyway,
yes. So then at the very end of Rampage, after the main event, which this was kind of an ROH-ish heavy show, which they've been kind of doing lately. I've heard some people have an issue with it. I don't, because these people they've got to build these stories. So it seems like either a TV/streaming deal is imminent, or they're selling the brand by building these stories. And so like we have the Ring of Jericho stuff where one thing I will say before we get to this part is I was very excited to see Dalton Castle come out on Friday night.
As soon as he came out, I was like, Sam's so excited.
Yes, I was so excited. I love him.
I could feel your excitement all through the universe.
Yes. I was like, please put this man on national TV. And it was funny because they sent out Rampage pictures like immediately after the show ended, and there's a picture of Dalton and he's sitting on the boys like he's on the stage using them as a chair. And so I just very quickly tweeted, put this man on national TV every week, you cowards, and I used the Rampage hashtag, and like I think it's up to like over 50 likes now. Like how many retweets, and I was like, put him on national. And besides next week, so I'm so glad that he's getting a Dynamite match too. I was like, please quit putting this man on YouTube. This man deserves to be on TV with his peacock power.
He has so much charisma. It's ridiculous.
It is. There's nobody like him. Oh God, I love him so much. So I'm very excited to see that Jericho. So I do kind of enjoy the Ring of Jericho stuff as far as that, like seeing him go through those champions. And now we have like I wonder if Mercedes has been cleared, because I saw her tweet the other day and she said she hasn't defended her title since this, and it was like a picture from her the last time she competed. So I'm hoping that means she's cleared. And so hopefully Mercedes will be back on TV soon, because they've been very ROH heavy as far as like Samoa Joe, which of course you should have Samoa Joe on TV all the time.
I mean, I think I'm pretty sure people love Samoa Joe.
Just a little.
I mean, I am having a little bit of there's a little more, you got your ROH on my Dynamite.
Yeah. And I
understand, like, I get it. And I know it's the only place they have right now, and it's fine. And it's good. And Jericho's awesome. And I think that, obviously I think they could scale back Jericho like a ton. And I think that they could do just as much in a shorter amount of time.
I agree.
I think that he can do all of the shenanigans that he does and not take up 35 or 40 minutes of the 2 hours.
Exactly. That I 100% agree with. So yeah, I kind of get what they're doing. Plus I like a lot of the ROH people that they have. And so if Rampage kind of turned into a ROH hour for the time being, like I wouldn't necessarily have a problem with that. And they've got to bring people in, and they've got to, I know they've got to introduce people to people who may have not have really kept up with ROH, which is kind of what they did Friday night. So after the main event, they're celebrating in the ring, and the Kingdom comes out. And so if you're not familiar, the Kingdom is Matt Taven and Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis-Bennett. And she did, because if you watched the show last week, I mentioned that her Impact stuff was done October the 8th, and October 15th, or I'm sorry, 14th, she was on Rampage. And so I was like, please let her. When I heard that, because I saw the rumor before, like
they recorded on Thursday, right?
I thought they recorded on Wednesday afterwards. I'm not sure when they recorded,
because I got spoiled on it somehow, but then I thought I misunderstood it because she wasn't on Dynamite, and I was like, well, what happened? And then it was like,
because Rampage was not live on Friday. I don't believe. Right. It was pre-taped, because that's how the rumor came out. But so as soon as I saw it, I got really excited. I was like, please send out the press release that says that you hired her for creative. Please don't let her just be the manager of the Kingdom. She's very good at that, but please have hired her.
You've got Renee and Maria now. You've got people to train the backstage interviewers. You've got people to train the women to develop their characters. You've got to help them understand. Those are two women that can actually, they can exist in the corporate world, so they understand about speaking up, and they can help either not do it for the person, but sort of put the person in a situation.
Right.
Where they can actually be, and keeping this bullshit off Twitter. This is we need, the men's division needs it bad enough as it is. They need to, they're getting into tiffs every week. They're actually,
this is what happens when grown men don't want to go to therapy.
All get together.
They don't want to go. They don't want to go to therapy.
We need to keep the stuff off the Twitter, man. And hopefully that they can also teach them to help them to be professional wrestlers. Professional.
Right. The professional
heavy on
part.
The professional part. Because it's a valuable skill, understanding professionalism.
Skill. Yeah, there's one thing when it's I mean, I agree, like, the authenticity and some of that stuff, like, you want some of the realness there because, like, basically anything that Eddie Kingston does, like, because
Yeah,
we know
pretty much.
Eddie Kingston is well known for liking pretty much nobody.
Eddie's gonna Eddie, and it's
Yeah,
okay because
and
he
that's
Eddie's
fine.
better than
But
anybody.
you don't even see him acting like that real I mean, he did with
Yeah.
Claudio a little bit before he got there, but, so there's there's a way to do it, and there's to and the timing obviously was terrible because of everything else that had just happened, within the last few weeks, so it's just yeah, maybe just go to therapy instead of taking it out on Twitter.
Well,
I
and
don't know.
I'm sorry you're having buyer's remorse, but that's a terrible way to get fired.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't
What a
and
mess.
don't yeah, and yeah, that is a mess, and yeah, but anyway, so
Anyway, let's talk
go
about
back to
Maria because now Maria is in AEW and she can fix everything.
Yeah,
We can
yeah,
be like,
obviously, she's just gonna have her
actually,
she
no. What
clearly
she
has her
can
magic
do is,
wand
yes, of course, and
to fix it all.
it will happen immediately, just like
Yeah.
fixing roads is supposed to happen overnight
Uh-huh.
and all
Yeah,
of that stuff
exactly.
because we
Yeah.
have no patience
No.
as a species, but. I'm really excited because when she came on, I was like, oh, they did grab her. And
Yeah.
I mean, also for ROH, I mean, they're
Yeah.
like legacy ROH. So,
Right, and, what she said, like, I was watching the interview that she did with Grapsody a few weeks ago, and she thought ROH was gonna be her life for the next 10 to 15 years,
yeah.
and she had these plans of, she is gonna revitalize the women, and she's gonna do these things to make the women's division better, and she's gonna do these things for them, and then she's also gonna expand into other roles, like, and make herself, more valuable to the company and, make ROH what she thinks it could be and do her part, and then it was pulled out from under her, and then she's like, and we didn't know what to do, and so it's so I'm really interested, and then she's got her stuff with the women's wrestle army, and she has all these great plans for them, and I think even being an AEW, like, she can still do a lot of those things, hopefully, and she can she can even help these women there and give them the tools that they need so that they can go to AEW and they can go to WWE. And she was like, she even mentioned, she's like, I want us to be a revolving door. Like, I want these women to learn all their skills, let them put it into practice, and then when they're ready, they can go sign these big contracts. And she was like, I want women to be making $1 million. She was like, why can't they? She was like, so I want these things to happen. So I think she can implement hope. I mean, I'm sure, obviously in this situation, she's got Tony and how they, and the EVPs and how they run certain things. And so, she's only going to be able to do so much, but she can still lay the foundation to get these things in place, and the bare minimum she can teach these women. She can give people like Marina and Anna Jay, who desperately need the help on the microphone, and some people it takes a little bit of time to, and I know we've talked about this many times, but I mean, you look at Britt Baker. Britt was awful on the mic, and they kept working with her and kept working with her, and now she's one of the best they have. And I'm not saying that Marina or Anna Jay are necessarily going to be that, but they can improve from where they are now, because I was like, the stuff with Anna can be really hard to listen to, because I know she's trying her best,
and there's potential there. She
just needs some help, and she's not been wrestling very long. Like, she had wrestled 7 matches when she signed to AEW back and it was like right in the pandemic stuff, and so she had that's it, and so she's still learning, and she still has a ways, and so she needs somebody like Maria who can help her. That, like, and I don't have an issue with, like, I enjoy that they don't have scripts and things like that, and most of them have been around long enough that they can kind of see what works and stuff. But I mean, even Cody said that he workshopped his promos, like, he would write them and then he would send them to like 4 or 5 people to get their feedback. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with having help on your promos. Like, they don't have to be scripted.
And everybody's not John Moxley, and that's
right,
just the bottom line, is that, and everybody isn't going to be. There's one Rock, there's one John Moxley, there's one Okada, like,
right. Well, and we even see Hangman kind of making his way, on his promos. Like, he's always been, like, he's had decent
shout out
promos.
To Hangman's pants, those shooting star pants were the absolute. I was like,
I love them.
He's like that. He put himself back on the map this week.
Right.
with that stuff. I mean, right down to his shooting star pants, which I'm like, you are a shooting
star. Which I believe
star.
I saw JD hating on them on Twitter, and I was thinking,
JD,
they're
I
not
love
for
you, man,
you.
but you're wrong on this one.
Wrong. That look is not for you. That's okay. It doesn't have to be for everybody.
Well, he couldn't rock it like Hangman did.
Well,
That's the point.
Who can?
The entire point is only.
I mean, he wore
Hangman.
butterfly pants with a Dolly Parton T-shirt. Like nobody.
Yeah, which James, I believe it was James, didn't like the butterfly shirt, but I thought the butterfly shirt was
love the butterflies.
Good. I liked it. I'm a big fan of butterflies though, because
Yeah. I love butterflies. Like and he paired it with a pink Dolly Parton
pro-pollinator, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Now he needs to put some bees.
There you go.
put some bees.
You know what? If anybody could rock it at this point, it's him.
Yes. I have been waiting though for him to wear a Loretta Lynn shirt since she passed away. I was like, maybe he hasn't found one. Nikki said, well, maybe he didn't really listen to her. And I was like, I don't care. He needs to wear a Loretta Lynn shirt. Maybe he's saving it. Maybe it's a pay-per-view shirt.
I was going to say, the pay-per-view is just about a month away at this point, right?
Yes, maybe it's a pay-per-view shirt.
There we go.
Yeah, we were saying
it was pretty epic. I actually had to reach out to those guys right away. I was like, I need a heat index on this, boys. If you don't know what I'm talking about the Boom, which is on the Fight Game Media Network, which is what we are on, and that's James McDaniel and Kevin Ely, and they are one of my two favorite shows to listen to during the week. And because we can all agree that Hangman is awesome and his wardrobe is suitable to a man of his awesomeness.
It's amazing. Just every week. Now he's one of those people like, what is Hangman going to come out in? Oh, he's just in his gear.
Yeah, right. It's like, Jericho does the big over the top stuff. Yeah. Like,
he comes out looking like he's in a boy band every other week, and they're like got their matching outfits. So why can't Hangman wear shooting star pants?
I love it. I love that he's doing that. I love that he's evolving.
He's just I think a lot of it too is it's just himself. Like I could see Hangman. I mean, maybe he doesn't wear those type of pants in public, but I was like, this man probably walks around in a Dolly Parton T-shirt all the time.
Oh, definitely.
Like
I don't think he has a problem with it.
No, it's probably like I need this.
And if some silly person is walking around like gonna make fun of Hangman, then
he will
cowboy shit.
Punch him in the face.
It is what it is, man. You
just give him a buckshot lariat and be done with it.
Exactly. It's like,
Yeah.
It's nice to see him back. He's kind of not been involved in the drama. He's another one that has. I think that it's been underrated.
Yeah. And I think he was just kind of laying low and doing his own thing to kind of stay out of it, and because he kind of got brought.
Mox and MJF get a lot of credit for how they've laid low during the stuff, and even MJF to the point where he got his own stuff just got buried by the stuff, and he's laying even lower under stuff. But I think
the one thing
obviously he was the target of Muffin Man's little tantrum, ultimate, like sort of the one of the. I guess we'll call him the. It was not Hangman's fault, but Punk made him something of a catalyst, for that.
But and he could have been we don't know what was happening, but from what we assume,
but he at least, I guess, smartly
stayed out of it,
stayed away. And he was like, who
knows what he's doing backstage, but publicly, he was quiet and laying low and just kind of doing his thing, and now he's kind of re-emerging, like you said. He's kind of getting I think he's almost kind of getting his footing back too, like, because the one thing that I kind of was annoyed with, and I'm glad this match is next week, is because I know why they had MJF sitting up there, but the fans kept chanting for MJF while Hangman was trying to talk. And they did it to Moxley too, but so Hangman's trying to cut this promo to to why this match is important to him. And that ended up being a really good, that's one of his best promos he did, but it was taken away. It was overshadowed a little bit by MJF. And it kind of feels
Becoming
like
a little bit of a meme.
it's big. That's kind of a thing with Hangman. Like he's getting overshadowed. He got overshadowed by the backstage stuff, and now he's getting overshadowed. So I'm glad I understand a little bit to the MJF stuff while they were doing it, and I get MJF's not been on TV. He's still very over, and I get why the fans. Yeah, exactly. But it kind of took away from what they were doing, and so that I was irritated by that a little bit. And I was like, you don't have to constantly show MJF, like we know he's there. Let Hangman do what he's gonna do. And I thought it was funny because Moxley was like, because he's a kid and he's like, I'm 31, and I think Moxley's like only like 5 or 6 years older than him. It's like, maybe I was like, I know he probably means like veteran wise because Moxley's been wrestling for so long, but I mean, Hangman's been.
Well, and you might feel like, I mean, some people are older souls, as it were.
Yeah, maybe that's what
probably
he's getting
feels older.
I'm sure he feels like a grizzled old veteran. But yeah, I was like, it made me laugh. I was like, I think Hangman's only like 5 years younger than you. But
go, like 2 years apart. Jeez,
go off. But yeah, and I was like, and I've been watching Hangman I started watching him like 11 years ago when he wrestled here locally. So I'm like, he's been around for a while. Mox. And I was like, I know what he's getting at, but it was just funny because I was like, if you want to be literal about it, that is incorrect. But sure, keep going.
But it's wrestling, so we're totally going to suspend our disbelief. And,
yeah, we're going to suspend our disbelief of the man wearing shooting star pants. That he is a kid, and Moxley over here in his white t-shirt and leather jacket
is a grown adult man.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the wizened Oldenheimer.
But I'm really excited for this match next week. I don't know what MJF is gonna do, and I hope he stays out. I hope the match is clean. I'm kind of prepared for it not being clean, and I'm sure there will be reason and rhyme for everything that they do. But considering this is a first time match, which I still can't believe that they've never wrestled each other before. Like that's just so funny that I was like, you would think that their paths have crossed. And so I hope they get the full match in, and it'll be interesting because it's in Moxley's hometown. But if MJF gets involved, apparently MJF is loved pretty much everywhere he goes. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And so that'll be
I don't know.
And I kind of wonder.
I'm excited for this one.
I am too. And then I mean, we're probably most likely leading into Mox versus MJF heading into Full Gear. But then where does that leave Hangman? Which will be kind of interesting to see, like what he has to do. Like, or are they going to make it I don't know that they'll make it a triple threat match. But it'll be interesting to kind of see. Obviously, we'll talk about this next week. But it'll be interesting to kind of see, like, where does Hangman go from here? Like, if he's not getting like this is his title shot, and assuming he doesn't win, and that it's not Hangman versus MJF next month. So it'll be interesting to see kind of what they do with him. Oh, and I guess speaking of, Stu was there on Rampage on Friday.
Yeah.
I missed it because I was outside with my dog.
We were like, oh my god.
Yeah, Nikki came outside. She was like, oh my god. She was like, Stu's back. And I was like, what? She was like, Stu. And she was like, I wanted to tell you before you saw it on Twitter, because I was scrolling I usually will scroll my phone when I'm waiting on Miley to walk around in the yard, which is what happens when you have a beagle. She will just smell everything. And I was like, lady, I was like, you had all this time during SmackDown when I wasn't really paying attention, but you had to nap through that, and then you decided you're gonna wake up, make me miss Stu. So Nikki found it on Twitter and she pulled it up so I could watch it. And so and we both saw it, and I know Stu sometimes wears it, but when he did his hand in and he had it wrapped like Luke Harper used to have his. He used to wear the wrap like that. And so I thought that was a nice little touch. And so I haven't heard anybody say, so I don't know if he's back for good, or because they were in Canada, they were like, why don't you come be on TV? Maybe he was there to talk about things and get something in place. I don't know. But in the night before, well, I guess technically it was the same day, PWG started releasing matches for their next show. And Evil Uno and Stu are tag teaming and
There
PWG.
you
So
go.
I was like, well, at least they're working together then. But then he shows up on Rampage. So I'm curious if they brought him back in, which I hope they did because I really like Stu. But even if they didn't, that was a nice little touch to have him there, especially with all the stuff going on with Tin, and he's trying to be recruited away to, I guess now, yeah, that's interesting how they're still kind of going about that, now that Andrade's not in the picture, but they're still where Roosh still wants to get, I guess Roosh and Jose the assistant still want 10, so that's interesting that what they're doing there. But yeah, so it was fun. But yeah, so last week was an interesting week, and I haven't heard, there's no graphics for the Kingdom yet, so I don't know exactly what Maria's deal is. I'm just waiting on, I'm hoping that I get the press release that says we've hired Maria Kanellis-Bennett, and not only is she going to be an on-screen talent, but she is also going to head the creative of the women's division. And then I will be like, I told you. Thank you for listening to me for the last 3 or 4 months that I've been talking.
I mean, your campaign, you've been like,
I have been campaigning.
You've made a great campaign for her.
I'm trying, and I hope that if she does do it, people will be patient and give her time, because she's got a lot of work to do.
Oh dear, yes.
It's definitely. It's gonna take a while. Hopefully they can get some small improvements like quickly. And I guess between that and Saraya is trying to do the women's revolution, so maybe they can work together and make that happen, and they can help all aspects of the revolution.
A while back, we were talking about like how was Kenny's absence going to affect the women's division. I think that not that it was great before, but I don't think that it did it any favors.
Right.
Is what it feels like. So I think the answer to our question after several whiles is it's hurt the division. And I mean, getting these, even as wrestlers, getting her in there is a great thing, and having her mind in the building. But let's hope that
and just having
they get her mind in the creative part of things.
Yeah, definitely. And then just having somebody advocate for them. Like, I mean, obviously that's what Kenny was doing. He is a huge advocate for women's wrestling, but Maria clearly is a huge, I mean, like that's what she said. Like she's the first lady of professional wrestling, and she is trying to, as a first lady,
it's okay to admit that sometimes you need a lady to work with ladies. Like it's okay to admit that. That's all right.
Yeah. And that's what she said. Like, she was like, I never had any intentions of being a promoter. I just was trying to help women get opportunities. And now I found myself with, I'm going to just do it myself. And here's Women's Wrestling Army. And this is what we are going to do. We're going to teach them backstage. Exactly. We're going to help them build characters. We're going to we're going to let them do backstage segments, and we're going to do all of these things. And I'm going to give them direction. And then I'm not going to write their promos for them. I'm going to help them figure out who their character is and what they want to say, and then we will tweak things as we go. And that's something that AEW desperately needs. They really need somebody like that. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that you need help with your women's division. And there's nothing wrong with hiring people to make that happen. And so if you've got Saraya going on TV and saying, we're going to have a women's revolution, then you have to give her the tools to be able to have that revolution. Otherwise, it's just words.
Agreed. And now I think that we need to tell people something very, very special.
We do.
We are going to announce our next live stream.
Yay!
Or we should go, ooh.
Yes, we should.
Because it's a Halloween special.
Yay!
What? So on the 30th of October at 4 p.m., right in the middle of your 4 p.m.
4 p.m. Eastern time.
Eastern Standard Time. Sorry, thank you. Yes, thank you. Matters. 4 o'clock. 1600. 1600 Eastern. we will be live streaming and Halloweening and doing a bunch of Halloween themed talks. We have some we have a kind of a fun thing that we planned for some of the hosts that will be joining us and some of the maybe special guests that will be joining us.
Yeah,
kind of like a fun, spooky what if or scary what if, you know.
Yeah, we're gonna give a fun little scenario and see what we can come up with. But yeah, I came up with the idea for the live stream before our last one. And I waited until that live stream, and then I was like, I was dying to tell them, and I was like, I have to. And then we've been having to bite our tongue for weeks because we were like, we don't want to announce it too soon. Like, if it had been up to us, we probably would have announced it like weeks ago. But
we would have probably I probably would have gotten us when you actually suggested this to me because I was so excited about it. Probably would have been like, let's do a live stream right now so we can tell them about our live stream.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, I have that power, folks.
We do.
What?
we had to harness our power and save it and build it for
we held back like a She-Hulk.
We did. And so I happen to be wearing my Roman Reigns shield shirt.
That's nice.
That wasn't even on purpose. But yeah, we're really excited about this. And we try to do, I know with it being Halloween weekend, some people, because Halloween's on a Monday, and so some people will probably be taking their kids out on Saturday and on Sunday, and people are probably doing like different Halloween festivities around them. So we know, that there's stuff probably going on that weekend. So we try to give you a little bit of an advance if you want to be here. We're trying to do a little bit later in the afternoon, hopefully not too late for our UK viewers. and then we're trying to make sure the people on the West Coast, and if they wanted to, even if they couldn't be in it, if they want to, watch live or anything like that. We're trying to find a balance. And we've never done one at that time because, typically we're on after pay-per-view. So it's like midnight. And so we tried a few weeks ago, we did a 1:00 live stream. So now we're going to play around with the 4:00 one.
We liked it. We liked it a lot.
Yeah.
It was nice having brunch with all of you guys.
Yes. You have to bring your own brunch. Sorry about that, James.
But
Yes. So I'm really excited about this. So we'll be hyping it up, and we'll send out a link soon that you can set a reminder since we are announcing it early. So again, that will be Sunday, October 30th at 4 p.m. Eastern time. Come join us live. I don't know if I should give away.
YouTube.
I was gonna say something else. I don't know if I should give away or I'm gonna tell you, and if you're somebody who listens to this on audio, you are going to want to be able to see it. Yep. I'll just put it that way.
Go to the Fight Game Media YouTube channel.
Yes.
Hit subscribe because it won't, and it's fine. You can subscribe. I've subscribed to lots of channels I don't necessarily listen to every day. Mm-hmm. You can hit subscribe, which will help us out, so we can have more than.
I believe we're still getting
2 audio, so we can have more than 2 audio podcasts up at a time. That'll really help us out on that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
folks.
So we'll definitely put up the audio version, but you're gonna
want to see it, and I will definitely link it because
you're definitely gonna want to see. So definitely
it's
subscribe
Halloween, now, guys. And if you think about what people do on Halloween, they get candy in a certain way.
Yes.
They usually don't just go out in their street clothes and get candy. they do certain things.
They do, yeah.
So that they
could be.
They do tricks for their treats, and so that's
yes,
and totally like normal platonic sorts of way.
Yes, exactly. So please. Yeah, make sure you come watch.
Remember, we have a $25 minimum for mean comments. You have to pledge at least $25 in the super chat for us to consider it.
Exactly. And then if you
we
have
will not read racist
and
hate
give us
or any other kind of defamatory.
Yeah, none of that crap. Not even on Halloween we aren't doing that.
Even on Halloween. But if you want us to do our worst, best Vincent Price impressions, money talks.
It does talk, and it will also help us with the audio version of things because we're going to hopefully move into a different tier of listing so that we don't have to remove episodes, and we'll have all the episodes. And so your super chats can help us with that. and so can Black Friday sales.
Yes,
that will be happening
Your
around that time.
chats can help us get to the Black Friday sale.
Yes,
easy for you to say. And then we can go ahead and actually keep an archive.
Yes.
You'll have a little bit longer to listen to the audio version if you prefer listening to the audio version, which we do appreciate. And you know, anybody that's downloading that and checking this out, we really appreciate it.
That. Thank you.
It's really cool, and you subscribing to that also actually does help our algorithm a little, because we throw that up on our @Powerbombshells everywhere on social media, basically.
Yes, we do.
We've got Twitter, Instagram, all the things.
All the things, yes. And so that will help us out. But yeah, so we're really looking forward to that. And if you follow us on these social media platforms, then you're going to see us talking about this live stream a lot.
Yes, you will.
We're going to be plugging the hell out of it because we're very excited and we want you to come join us
because
live at 4 p.m.
So much
on
fun.
October 30th.
It'll be scary.
I see what you did there.
Thank you. Thank you. I was really trying.
Yes, you did very well. I appreciate that.
Awesome. You're welcome. Hit that mark.
Yes.
All right.
Yay.
Hey, we both watched 2 different kinds of wrestling.
Very different.
Totally different. Mine's quicker, so I'm going to tell you mine first.
Go ahead.
Because I watched only
I'm
one.
Behind on this.
Yeah, but and I really I can't put this over enough to you, is that, so I watched the Declaration of Power show, which was on the 10th of October, I believe. Wrote it down, and now I can't.
There's been so much wrestling in between there that it seems longer. So I'm not that far, but I'm behind, but at least I'm not.
No, it was the 14th. Anyway, the point is, it was excellent. It's the Declaration of Power show on New Japan World. They're finally putting those Royal Quest shows up. I'm very excited.
I've heard. Yeah, that's going up this weekend, right?
Yeah, I think so. Today or tomorrow. But anyway, cool. So this was the Declaration of Power show, and there were some really good matches on it. The Okada-Jonah match was
I've heard incredible. I've heard really good things.
I'm not even going to... You
after
will enjoy it.
Yeah, after seeing Okada and Jonah during the G1, that was probably my favorite match of the tournament. I'm really looking forward to this match, and I heard that it delivered, and people were, I actually saw somebody, they were like, I've never really thought one way or another about Jonah, but they're like, if this is what New Japan is doing with him, like, I'm interested. And I was like,
amazing.
Yeah,
and
they could,
and they're putting him in, I mean, they're giving him a huge push. You don't put him in singles matches like
twice.
second to the top with
like,
Okada.
Yeah, like, and he was the first person to
time.
This was and this was his first time pinning Okada or it was the first time Okada was pinned in the G1, I believe.
Yeah, it was. Jonah was the first one to pin Okada in the G1, and so Okada had, he had beef.
Yeah, and so that's huge. Like, I don't know how to explain that other than that's a huge deal for somebody like Jonah.
Both of them are amazing. Yeah. I mean, I always watch Okada matches, and I'm just like, he's so good. He's so good.
Me too. Me too.
And
still, I'm in awe of him.
I can't really spoil it for you when I'm telling you that, like, Jonah lives up to the moment once again, and it's amazing.
Yeah, I have got that's definitely on my list. I'm hoping I can at least get to it tonight, because I really want to see it.
Before you go rolling through, which we're all guilty of, rolling to the tournament matches.
Me too, because especially when I'm behind on things like I am now.
Sometimes you get a special show like this one, where the undercard includes Bad Dude Tito and some TMDK.
I like TMDK, but I love Bad Dude Tito.
And even though it was a bit of a, it was a little bit of a showcase, obviously, for some future matches that they have coming up. Oh man, Kevin and Chris are back at ringside. They have a third person.
I think I know who that person.
Spoil.
I believe I know who that person is, because I think I saw a picture of the two of them with that person. So I think I know who you're talking about.
What the person that everyone wanted to, you'll love it, and I know you will, because you and Nikki have actually there's things that you and Nikki have actually joked about that you have told me about that I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, we definitely have to get
So,
into
but
it.
but it's actually a really good show, and I didn't watch like every single show, but I definitely did watch a lot of the Team DK stuff, and they are great. And
Yeah, I really
that
like
dude Tito
TMDK.
wrestling,
The dude is
and
awesome. I love him.
I mean, got some Taguchi in there. It was a lot of fun. It was a really cool. They did. This was their first show back from being on tour when Inoki passed away.
Right.
So there is a really
Oh, I
nice
did hear
introduction.
that they did. Yeah, I did
And
hear about
really
that.
nice, really great stuff. They did a really, really nice job. And then the show was, it was actually kind of one of those things where you're like,
this was the show he was supposed to have been on, right? Where they were going to do the thing with Inoki, where they made him honorary lifetime chairman, I believe is what the announcement was. And he, obviously before he had passed, I believe that this was the show that he was supposed to have been on.
Okay, because I know he did one 3 or 4 months
he
ago,
did.
and that was, and they were going to try really hard. They were hoping that they could get another.
Yeah, I believe this was the show that and obviously since he passed, they went ahead and announced that I believe it's honorary lifetime chairman of New Japan was what they was what and he was, and they told him and he agreed to it or approved it or whatever. And I believe they were going to make the announcement to fans at this show, and then obviously he passed before that could happen. So they went ahead
and I mean, you know, they did a fantastic job as far as like,
that's nice to hear.
It's really, I mean, it was great. It was a really, really, New Japan is bubbling up again. They're simmering just below the surface. I think that because everybody's so focused on how hot WWE is right now.
Yeah.
And whatever you want to think about AEW and what's going on over there. I think that New Japan is having like the show on the 14th was free.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, and then they've got because at the end of the month they've got the two actually the same weekend as our live live stream. They have two shows
after the stream or before it.
They have the New York shows, and then
that's right
on the 20. I think it's the 27th and the 28th. So right that same weekend of our
Rumble
live stream
on 44th Street.
Yeah, and they're doing and then the night before I think they're doing
added a Halloween
themed stuff. Yeah, and is Rumble on 44th Street is where they're doing that's the one where they're doing Eddie who is it? Eddie and somebody against Jay White. And I just saw this like 2 days ago. Why did I forget who? It's a tag team match, and it's because I saw where Jay called Eddie out. I saw that clip, and then I saw Eddie's response on Twitter, which was great. It's a very Eddie response. And then the next thing I know, there's a tag team match. It is why do I not remember? I need to look that up. But yes.
Yeah, and then they added on the day before, there's like a mystery show with a whole bunch of mystery participants.
Yeah, and they're also
actually I was listening to the concept. They were talking about an Observer Radio, and I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of a cool concept to like have. And I was like, I'd buy tickets to that.
Yeah, right. And then they also, I don't know, I assume that, are they doing the Stardom Women on that show? I know they're going to be on the US Strong shows starting this month. I guess when they start doing the tapings, because their tournament is going on to name the IWGP Women's Champion, and that will be crowned on November the 20th, which is the day after Full Gear. And so I know they're going to start utilizing the women. So I don't, they're in the ad. Well, in the original ad they showed, I believe the women were featured, but I don't think any matches have been announced for the women for that show. But I'm assuming they're already going to be here if they're doing the Strong tapings that are coming up.
I feel like there were some announcements on the show that I was watching because I started the Autumn Battle and didn't get very far, but I'm not sure. And there was also a Wrestle Kingdom press conference in there.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I know. I did see, even though I am behind, I did see what the main event of Wrestle Kingdom is. I think
Wrestle Kingdom could turn out to be a really, like, I mean, obviously it's a really good show every year.
Anyway,
it's Wrestle Kingdom.
But this could be the one that
feels like,
especially, and
I mean, even with this show that I'm talking about was a not cheering show. They were not allowed to cheer.
Okay.
However, it was impossible. Certainly,
I heard
I think
they kind of reacted to certain things, even though they weren't supposed to be.
Well, it's because all right. listen, there was a fantastic, wonderful, amazing. What they're doing with the King of Pro Wrestling stuff right now, it shouldn't be fun, but it's so much fun. It's ridiculous. It's silly. But then they did a Who's Your Daddy match.
Yeah, that match
Phantasmo versus Shingo Takagi. And I'm not going to spoil it for you because
I think Twitter spoiled it for me yesterday because
no. But you didn't watch it.
No, I still want to watch the match, but I think I know who won, and that was what
watching
was spoiled.
It. Oh no, make your heart warm.
I need to see.
And it's funny because definitely they couldn't help it. There was laughing, there was cheering, it was too good.
Well, I saw, because this was something that started like in the G1 because ELP was drawing shirts on the whiteboard that said "Who's Your Daddy?" and he had shirts made, and then like even leading up to the match, I think it was right before the match, Shingo tweeted a picture of a Mickey Mouse pacifier and said that he got it for ELP. So they're having a lot of fun with the match. Yeah, because I had a friend who's not really been keeping up with it, and he was like, "What is this?" And
it was amazing.
It's Shingo and EOP. It's something they've been building since the G1, and now it's turned into this.
And there was a good match there too. So it's like, I mean, it's not like you got like some kind of like stupid match and a bunch of shenanigans. Yeah. It was awesome. I'll just say that and leave it there because I want you guys to enjoy it. And I prefer personally kind of cold. And I know that Twitter is out there to spoil things, but they won't be able to spoil the experience that you'll have watching it.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. I really have got to get caught up.
This was like one I would recommend.
Okay. I will make sure I get
making me feel like watching a show like that makes me feel like New Japan before the pandemic. Good. And they were hit because they were firing on all cylinders before that happened. They were just feeling real good. And I mean, Forbidden Door was a great show.
Yeah, well, and the G1 was a moment to
highlight them, but they've taken that momentum and they have run with it really
they need to, because there's a lot of good talent there and there was a lot of good stuff that they're doing. So I'm glad to hear that they've kind of got it figured out. And
boy, do the Japanese crowds love the things that we love, that we hoped and knew that they would.
Right.
But Team Filthy, TMDK, they're loving our strong guys.
Amazing. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. And
now, and then you watched the AAA show.
I did. I watched the last two matches were what I wanted to see the most. And I was out running some errands yesterday, and so I didn't get back until well into the show. And so there was a third match on that I wasn't really paying attention to because I was catching up on my phone and catching up on a couple of other things. And so
there's a lot of wrestling people.
Yes. So
Sam's got like 10 jobs.
Might be adding another one to it, but we will talk about that.
Fighting for everything.
You cannot escape me, Tony. I'll ask you questions. I'm gonna collect all the media passes, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Halloween special.
Yeah. Maybe that's what'll lead into Halloween. Maybe that'll be.
I will ask the scariest question ever. Why do you hate the women's division? No.
That should be what I do on Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody.
Gonna turn on a flashlight.
Put it under your chin. Why do you hate? Oh God. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, back to this AAA show. So the one match that I really wanted to see was for the AAA Mega Champion title, which Kenny Omega held for a little bit, and then he had to vacate that when he was injured and recovering from all his various injuries. And so that match was between Vikingo and Rey Fenix. And so just seeing those names, like, I knew that match was going to be a banger.
That just sounds good.
It was a match of the year contender. Like, I opened my list last night and I added it to that because it was incredible. It was so good. And if you have never seen Vikingo before, I just recommend trying to find something of his. I've only seen him a handful of times, and he did some stuff with Impact when Impact was doing some shows with AAA. He had some matches on there, and he's just like I retweet. I should do it too. I'll retweet it from Powerbombshells, but I retweeted some stuff from my personal page last night from the match, and it was just he's so good. And they were talking about how he's like, I think he's only like 26 years old,
Oh wow.
and he's doing like these insane flips. And I heard like one of the reasons he hasn't wrestled in America is because he's been having visa problems for a while. I have heard that the visa situation is under control and they expect him to be in the US by the end of this year. So I don't know if that means AEW or if it's going to be PWG or if he's going to be doing indie shows or if he's going to do New Japan Strong. Like, I don't know exactly what the plans are for him, but I'm very excited because he's so good and he impresses me every single time that I watch him. And if you like luchadors, you will like Vikingo. He's phenomenal. And he and
I
Phoenix
really do enjoy lucha. It's one of my more favorite styles. I don't watch enough for a style that I like so much.
Right. Yeah. Same. Yeah.
It's weird. So and I mean, I even get free access to most of it. But not. I mean, they put,
I know what you mean.
CMLL is on what, like Fridays? You can get it on YouTube.
Something like, I think so. Yeah.
And then we get a fair bit of AAA on New Japan World. They throw
so I'm hoping, like he's one of those dudes. Like I would love to see him BOSJ if they could get the politics things figured out. Because I know there's a lot of that with Mexican wrestling, but if they could get that figured out, he would be incredible in BOSJ. Like he could go toe to toe with so many people, and he would. Yeah, he's so good. But yeah, that match was incredible. And Vikingo was already the AAA champion. He did retain last night, but oh my god, I don't know for sure. Phoenix may have been injured in that match. He may have had, he may have bruised, or some people are wondering if he broke some ribs. I have not heard if that's the case. And if that is, I don't know how that's going to affect Tuesday's match because Best Friends and Orange Cassidy sat on the stairs, which means they're calling somebody out. And they did. They called out Death Triangle.
They're sitting on the stairs. Yeah, it's so funny.
I love it. That's funny. I like how
just said it.
Chucky was
on the stairs like, this is where we call people out. I'm like,
yes.
That is amazing. That is so good.
So I really hope that does not affect that match because I'm really looking forward to it. So I don't know. I have not heard for sure one way or another, but that match was incredible. If you can find a way to watch it, please do. I will definitely make sure that I retweet on the Powerbombshells so that you can see just some of the incredible moves that they were doing. They're so good. And then the main event, it was like they were talking about titles don't matter so much in AAA. Mask versus mask matches and hair versus hair matches are more important to them. And so the main event was a mask versus mask match. It was Villano versus Pentagon, or Penta El Zero Meadow, I believe is his full name that he goes by now. But yeah, that match was insane. Like, Penta had a really cool entrance, and I retweeted that. I'll retweet that to the other thing, but it was really similar to the one that that the Lucha Brothers had. I think that was at Double or Nothing, where they had the big feathers and they had like the really cool entrance. And I think it was Mikey Ruckus was rapping. I think on that one, I think that was, or was that Revolution that happened? I think it was.
I don't know, but I know what you're talking about.
But yeah, so it was kind of similar to that, but it was really, really cool. And somebody got the entire entrance and tweeted it, and hopefully it hasn't been removed because it was really cool. And like Penta gets attacked like before he even gets to the ring. His mask is being pulled on, and he's bloody within like minutes of the match starting. And one thing I will say. I know there's been a lot of talk about Mox not being able to wrestle for GCW anymore, and I don't know if any of it is because of the blood and things like that, but I don't want to hear anything about Jon Moxley bleeding when Penta and Phoenix both were bloody messes last night. Like it was there was blood already from Phoenix's match. There was blood all over the ring, but Penta bled a lot. So I don't want to, if that's their argument I mean, I'm sure there's other arguments to be made because there's weapons and things like that being used in death matches, but John Moxley was not doing death matches, but that not really, but that's a whole other story. But I want to throw that out there. They were both extremely bloody. Like after the mask was ripped, Villano was trying to rip Penta's vest, and within a couple of minutes, his vest was complete. Like he had it pulled down completely, and like he was he was very bloody last night. Wow. And they were doing all kinds of cool shit. And apparently Villano is like 57 years old. Yeah, it was crazy.
That always blows my mind when I see the wrestlers in places like Mexico and Japan, and it's like, this guy's 68. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
How?
Right. And doing the things that they were doing, like that match was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it as well. And it was really and so Penta did get the win. So Villano had to lose his mask. And it's such when it's not Andrade ripping people's masks off like that. When it's an actual true, they are giving up their mask because it's such an emotional thing to watch. I was like, I'm not very familiar with Villano, but like it was really emotional watching him remove his mask, and like people were crying. There's like a woman who had kind of like a half mask that was similar to his, and then they showed another fan who had a mask and he just looked devastated, and it was really emotional watching that. And I almost felt bad for him just because I know that mask probably meant so much to him, and he removed it, and he revealed what his real name is, and then he was crying, and he hugged Penta, and he handed him the mask, and so Penta was like holding it up, which there's this really incredible shot of his mask is ripped really bad. He's covered in blood, and he's holding this man's mask, and it was just a really incredible image to see. And then Villano went over, and he was hugging Phoenix too, and you could tell it was like, and there's I believe Penta's children were in the ring. I want to say Phoenix, like it was a whole lot, like it was just a whole lot of people in the ring. And it was just a really emotional thing to watch, and it was really cool. But you tell it meant a lot to Penta to be in the position to be able to remove someone's mask like that. It clearly had a lot of, again, I don't know Villano's history, so I'm sure there is a lot there. And especially being 57 years old, I'm sure he's wrestled for a very long time.
I imagine there's probably some symbolic.
Yeah, so I'm sure, and so
for Penta, and because if you're wrestling somebody at that age, I think that's pretty universal. We all know that like this is somebody that's getting somebody over even more. Penta's pretty over, but or you've got traditions where like more. In Japan, it's pretty much like you can't use that move unless somebody gives it to you. It's kind of insulting otherwise, or whatever. There's different ways to ascend by, potentially beating veterans or whatever. So that sounds really cool.
It was really cool. Like I really enjoyed it, and I especially for being the 30th anniversary of Triplemania. And one thing I did see last night. I did not know that Jake the Snake Roberts was in the main event of the first Triplemania. I saw him, he was tweeting about it last night that he was, and he tweeted a clip from the match as well. So, and I had because again, that's, my own ignorance, not really following a whole lot of the, so I'm not very familiar with AAA and its history. As far as the Triplemania goes, I've seen a few shows over the years, and they're really incredible. But yeah, so even having that, and like they had Rey Mysterio, he recorded a video and like congratulated them on 30 years. I had heard that they had wanted Kenny to cut something, but because of the legal things that are going on, he was unavailable to record something for it. But so it was just really cool. So I think having that match main event, the 30th anniversary show, and having that moment, and then you have somebody like Villano who is giving up his mask, he's revealing his true identity. Then you have Penta, and it's just solidifying him as the star that he is in both AAA and in America and things like that. So I thought it was just a really, really cool moment to see, even though I didn't completely understand exactly what, like I don't know like what that would be equivalent to here, but I'm still like, it was a really emotional thing to see. And so I can only imagine what it was like for fans who've been watching them, for years and years to see that. And I was like, if I'm that affected, I can only imagine what it was like for them. But it was really well done from what I could see. And just, like I said, the image of Penta, a bloody Penta just holding up Filano's mask like that was a really huge moment. And it was a really cool thing to see. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow, what else do we have there? Do we have anything else?
No, I think that's it. We've got our we covered all the big stuff, and we gave our really big, exciting announcement that we've been holding back for weeks.
Yeah. So come join us on October 30th at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes.
Where we will do some scary Halloween-y type things, and we will have some special guests.
Yes, ghosts. Yeah, I think ghosts is like, ooh, who could it be? Ooh. Yeah. And we have, like we said, we got some fun segments. Look, we're trying to get the P in there for Powerbombshells. We're trying to get P words.
We love cramming words together, and
we're trying for some alliteration. So apparently, I
tried live scream. I think that's
we may just go with that. I enjoy live scream.
I think that the kids calendars that I used to make back in the day would it's live scream. Oh yeah.
So we may just
pumpkins, but maybe I'll put some and maybe before, but that may be the premiere of the anniversary belts.
We might have. Yeah, I think that's the perfect time. I think
they may make an appearance in our next episode, and then we can take a closer look at them.
Right, there we go.
That's going to be part of the maybe. I'm going to see.
Well, that means you have to tune in to next week's episode to see if you see them.
Now you have to watch 2 shows.
Yeah, we won't be live. Next week we won't be live, but you will have to watch.
Yeah,
and then that also means for you people who prefer audio, that you might have to check out YouTube next week. And so you can go ahead and subscribe while you're watching next week's episode. And then you're already subscribed for the live stream that you need to be watching. And you can set a reminder. Exactly. See?
Sam, you are... Listen to this woman, people. She is like on Maria's level.
I don't know about that, but right. I will.
She's working her way there.
I'm working. Yeah, there we go. We'll do that.
Positive female role model.
Yes,
Maria.
Thank you. There we go.
And actually, there is something to that. So we'll get. But so join us for that and all of the other things in between. Do not forget to please subscribe to the YouTube channel, but also to the Patreon, because the people that I was talking about earlier, the Boom Dynamite Show, Paul and Jeff over there at the Dynamite Show, Keela, Cash, and Scott Young, who do the rap, which is WWE stuff, which now I'm gonna have to start being even more committed to listening to them.
Right? Yeah, they're now. I
was listening to them so that they could tell me about WWE.
Right.
Now my addiction has grown into watching it, so now I'm gonna have to hear what they have to actually say about the thing I just watched.
Right. Yeah.
But it's worth it because it's only $5 a month.
There's so much good content. There's Joshi content. There's like straight up New Japan stuff, like, because obviously we talk about what we watch, but they there's this, like, if you're looking specifically for New Japan stuff, there's stuff there. There's all kinds of wrestling content and MMA content over on the Patreon, and they are working really hard to provide excellent content for you. So definitely check them out for sure. And then on the YouTube channel, you can actually even get a taste of what they're doing, because on the YouTube channel, we do put up clips from each show. And so you can kind of get a taste of it before. If you're not too sure if you want to spend $5 a month, you can go check it out on YouTube and listen to these people and then decide, hey, I want to give them $5 a month because they put out some good shit.
That's right. And when we finally do our Who's the Best Host on the Fight Game Media Network tournament, Battle
what is
Royale
wrestling without
Throwdown.
what
Who's
is
your
wrestling
favorite
content
host?
without a tournament?
We can do a tournament. We can do a call in. We can everyone's live streams. They have to ask who's
There we go.
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite host? Stay Power Bombshells.
That's all right.
No, it's cool. We love everyone
We
here,
do.
and you'll get to actually hopefully meet some of them. And if you're not familiar with their shows, you can go get into them.
Yeah.
So like Game Media on YouTube and the Patreon and us at Powered Bombshells on the everywhere.
Yes.
I think we're gonna wrap this thing up.
I think we are.
I
think we covered everything. So yeah, make sure that you check out next week and then the week after. Set your reminder. You're gonna get sick of us because we're gonna talk about it a lot on the social medias. But
get sick of us.
we want you to be there, so we don't want you to forget.
You'll get sick of us in the best possible way.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. So
you'll be like, I'm sick of hearing about this. I want to watch.
Exactly.
See,
that's how we're trying to. That's the angle we're going for.
Yeah.
So I think that, like she said, I think that wraps it up for us. And thank you for spending your time with us. And we hope that you have a good week. And we will see you next week for episode 35.
Have a good one.
Bye.